Here are some of the must-knows of fundamental analysis. Alright guys, as usual, none of what we say is investment advice. Please speak to your own professional money manager if you have one to get advice. If not, it's only educational. Now guys, if you're really interested in building a 6 to 7 figure portfolio, we've got the perfect solution for you. Head over in the comment section or the description to sign up for our free masterclass where you can get all these proven steps to achieve it. Alright, so this first, you can say, misconception is pretty popular, right? And that is looking at some of the numbers.
Yep.
You know, things like revenue, profit. Then we go on to the ratios, which is the classic PE, PB, NTA, stuff like that.
I think this is a very classic, I'll say retail investors. Those who are actually not really fundamental analysts, but they are actually...
we call it pseudo FA,
Yeah, correct. So what they do is basically they open up their phone, the app, and then usually the app will tells you what is the performance, financial performance each quarter.
Yes.
So how they actually... quote unquote use fundamental analysis, they see the revenue and profit, it's growing, means it's a good company.
Yes.
And then after that, they will look at the PB, the price to book, the price to earnings, the NTA ratios, then they see that, it's low, or it's like the NTA is much higher than the share price, so there's more upside. So that is basically what they mean by fundamental analysis to them. That's the dictionary.
And I think, okay, speaking of that, now in Malaysia, we have this app that people use a lot. I believe is KLSC Screener or Malaysia. Right. That is on an app where people like to look at it. I think it's KLSC
Actually,
Screener.
A lot of those banks also, institutional banks also already have it.
So I'll give you my very, from my experience, things you should take note lah. If you can look at an app, the fundamental data app, and make a decision, you are on the wrong track. In my humble opinion, analysis, especially fundamental analysis, is best done in front of a desktop.
Yes, 100%.
The reason is because you usually need to do a mixture of using spreadsheets plus watching some videos, plus reading articles and things like that.
Yep.
When it's just in your pocket, yes, it's convenient, but I don't know, it's just different. Right, you can't really do it through your phone unless you're maybe reading a short article. No problem. It's not that you cannot use your phone, but real deep work, you can't.
It's basically just work lah. And when you're working, of course, you need to use your desktop, right? Your company's laptop instead of a phone.
Yes. So, of course, this is only for like online stuff lah. Obviously, you should be reading. If you like to read physical stuff like that, no problem as well.
Yep. Okay, so that's just the expectation on what is fundamental analysis. Now, here comes the reality. Okay, so the first one is unit economics. Actually, it's very simple only. You just need to know what is the price of the particular product and then what is the cost of actually making that product.
Yes.
It's just as simple as that. But then sometimes you get companies that do like, for example, your ATE companies, automated testing equipments. You need to know, they won't really disclose to you what is the average selling price of each machine. So those kind of things you need to like dig further. Sometimes even going through, going to the pain of actually to the managements, like the HQ and ask them. But sometimes they won't even disclose to you. So these kind of headaches, right, you have to go through as a fundamental analysis because not all the answers are straight away can show you on an app. There's a lot of information that is hidden and you need to like dig and discover. So already here you go. The first hurdle already you have unit economics and
So I mean, in our research team for FIRL Pro, right, we always talk about this and we always like to ask like, hey, which product sells better? Which product? What's the margin for each product? What is required to produce the product? And then I think in maybe more like software companies, the unit economics is LTV over CAC, so long term value, I believe, and over customer acquisition cost. So or lifetime value, sorry, not long term. So basically, they are calculating like, okay, this customer, how much does it take to acquire him through ads, through whatever, versus how much money that unit can pay me over time. This is important because it really breaks down the essence of what business is, which is you have customers, and how likely and how much will each customer give you, and what do you need to spend to get those customers. This is absolutely crucial because it forces you into thinking like a business owner, which is always going to be helpful for you as an investor, not just purely as a numbers guy and just looking at broad numbers like revenue and profit and things like that, and costs.
Yep, agree. Okay, so that's just the first one. The second one is industry dynamics. So also another complicated topic. Basically, you need to know the to put it very simple, I think you guys know what is value chain, right? So there's this value chain, and then you need to know how does this company actually get their materials, and then how does it actually work down to the, I don't know, whether is it the downstream side or does it go to the customers, the distribution channel and everything. So obviously, when a company does a business, right, there's always a point A to point B one. So you need to know the entire process and how does this process actually affect this business. So for example, like let's say there is this Russia and Ukraine war.
Yes.
So I believe Ukraine is the largest wheat producer. Supplier.
Yeah. Fourth in the world, I believe.
Okay, one of the largest.
Yeah.
So when you heard about this news, like what would happen to the entire like country? Like those countries that rely a lot from Ukraine will be affected. So like this kind of thing, you have to like piece those puzzles into it lah. Yeah. And that's about it for industry dynamics.
The way, look, what you see from the financial numbers only just tells you that. It tells you what has happened, how much profit it makes, things like that. But you need to figure out as an investor, what are the drivers going forward. Right, correct. Where you assess what is the company going to look like in 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, and 1 year. That will tell you a lot about the company. And that's why, we are not trying to clickbait when we say that fundamental analysis done the right way is better than something like day trading, because it forces you to think further ahead. And all the big returns in the stock market are usually when you hold something really good for a very long time. Difficult, but that's how it's done.
Yes.
When you day trade, like how much can a business change in a day, right? Unless you're a revenue group, but outside of that, it's really, really difficult, right? And maybe you make a 20-30% gain a day, fantastic for you, but then now you have to go and find another one. But if you spend time understanding the industry, figuring out the tailwinds, figuring out where the industry is growing, and then where the company is situated in the industry and whether or not it's the best way to be situated, then you can just buy and just sit and wait and hold, and eventually the outcome will be pretty good. So that's the benefit of really understanding all this.
Yes.
But guys, before we move on, if you're someone looking to level up their stock investing skills and you need a lot more guidance, we do have a one-on-one program called the Mentorship Program. If you're interested, you can apply it in the comment section or the description.
100%. And now the third point is process flow. Okay, so I think I also kind of indirectly say in the second point just now. So it's basically how the product is being made to how does it ship to the customers. So this process flow is sometimes, usually you can find these infographics in the prospectus. So thankfully, if you guys actually read the prospectus, right, they give a lot of insightful things about how is the entire process looks like. Annual reports rarely give you this thing. Yeah, they rarely. So make sure you treasure prospectus report and like maybe download and keep it in your hard drive or something.
I think of all the three, the process flow here is the least important. It is still relevant, but it's the least important because it's probably more relevant if you were running the business and you know all the different little steps. But as far as things that move the business and eventually the stock price, process flows, not so much, right? Because it's a more commoditized, like a very good process flow can be replicated around, right? But what is harder to replicate are industry tailwinds, like unit economics, the branding, the marketing, things like that. So it's still important to know, just know the limitations. Don't do what we call I've not thought about the right word about this, but there are a lot of investors that I know. They meet management or when they study the company, they go into the rabbit hole, into looking at all this, right? They're looking at the tree, not the forest. And they go deep into this rabbit hole and they think they're doing work and they think that they are, being productive when actually, again, the stock doesn't care how much you know about this, using this method of producing this amount of heat versus the other amount of heat. But it's just more of a good general knowledge to layer on, be 1-2% smarter than if you didn't do it.
Actually, this could be a difference if, let's say, the competitor have a different process flow. Let's say you're doing two same products, right? But why does this competitor do this way, but this company do that way? So then you can compare between, but usually you can see between the cost and the margin.
Yeah. Usually it's like that because at the end of the day, if they got the right customer, they will find a way to improve their process flow just to service the customer, right? So those other things are a lot more important. But yeah, definitely still learn about it. It's always good to know.
Yep. Okay. So the fourth one, which not many people actually do, that is competitor analysis. Because when you usually what investors will do is when they research one company, they'll just stay with that company. They don't research the competitors and everything. And sometimes competitors can be like 4, 5, or even 10 competitors in that space. So yes, there's a lot of work because you have to replicate what you did to the company that they research another like 4 to 5 times more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The way I go about explaining this is, look, have you eaten nasi lemak before where you felt like it's very value for money?
I think there is.
Right. Or food lah. Food.
Food.
There's some food, right?
As long as it
okay, name the latest food you ate that you felt very, very value for money.
Burger Lab.
Burger Lab. Okay, why? How do you know it's value for money?
Because I'm full. Every time when I eat it, it makes me full.
Right. So does that mean that there were other burger stores that didn't keep you full for the same price?
Yeah, there is some. Yeah.
So the way you know that is because you went to other burger stores, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
So if you say the company is cheap, how do you know? Well, because when I look at these four other guys, they're not doing as good, but they're trading for higher multiples or things like that. Then that's when you're like, oh, okay, I know this is a lot cheaper.
Yep. That's an interesting way to put it. Yep. Okay, the fifth one we have here, it's management. It's kind of hard to actually analyze management actually, because you don't know what is the next move the next day. I mean, revenue group is the great example. We never even know why did that even happen. Yes. We didn't even know that there's such things happening already for the past few years already. Right. That there's like this internal conflict. But yeah, but to me, management, I will say that as long as they manage to deliver the numbers, I think that's the role. I mean, that is fine to me. Yeah. Or other than that is maybe you want to talk to the employees and whatnot, how they're being treated. And also how is the management being compensated? Are they overpaying themselves or not? Or whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, that's to me is how you have to like analyze management in that sort of manner. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the management is the one that drives the business.
Yep.
Right? Before the profits, before the product, before the service, before the hiring, before the business development, before all these things, right? Is the management. What do they believe in? How do they go about things? Like, one example I'll give would be Rose Blumkin, which was the owner of Nebraska Furniture Mart, which was owned by Warren Buffett. And Nebraska Furniture Mart is one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, furniture company in Nebraska, which is a state in the US. How did they become dominant? It was very simple, right? Her personal philosophy on life is sell cheap, don't tell, like always tell the truth. Right? So what is her mindset? Always sell cheap, right? And the story goes, she was always she was an immigrant and she was always running around the store, bargaining, things like that, and trying to close customers. And that was all her obsession. So you can imagine, right? She's not someone that is going to be like spending lavishly on herself. She's she will also know that, hey, I like cheap things. So it means when I create my business, right, I'm going to make things as cheap as possible. That's fantastic for a business because then, you knock out all the competition.
Yep.
When you can say, right, as the owner, I don't need the money, but I want to do well in business. So the owner takes a small salary or whatever it is and then produce. And because he takes a small salary, because he doesn't take money out of the company, they can start to lower prices of their products, go out, dominate, win, get acquired by Warren Buffett. So again, all of that is only possible because the management thinks like that.
Yes, 100%. That's an interesting example that you give there. Okay, the last point here is I think all these fundamental analysis will go to like not or even it won't be like you cannot make it like successful is because of these catalysts. So if let's say this company does not have any catalyst, chances are you may not see it grow up, like grow up in share price value, or it may stagnate.
Yeah.
So it's just simple as that. You need catalysts to actually drive the companies dynamics. That's about it for catalysts. Anything?
No, well, just to add, I mean, the catalyst is the thing that turns your analysis profitable or unprofitable because they're negative catalysts also. Right? You can do all the analysis, you can say it's undervalued, but if there's nothing to quote unquote wake it up, it will be undervalued forever.
Yes.
But then the additional point I will make is that because of that, that's why patience can be very important because it's hard to get the right time, like to know the catalyst is happening next week, I'm going to buy today. It's very hard to be, right? So you need to be able to be patient and say, you know what, I don't mind waiting 1 year, 2 years for the catalyst to play out or more, right? Depending on your investment style. This, Peter Lynch is known for saying like his best stocks always start happening in his 5th, 6th or 7th year, right? Because catalyst is something that's hard to predict. It can be as simple as other people figuring out it's undervalued. So that pushes the price up.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, that's what I would say is, are the important bits about investing.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so those are the reality of fundamental analysis. I believe if you are a business owner, you kind of know all this already because you are forced to learn. Yes. If not, you will lose money. You definitely lose a lot of money. So yeah, so if you want to be good at fundamental analysis, be a business owner. Okay, and there's one more. Actually, this is very straightforward, which is numbers and valuation. I mean, it's just if it doesn't show it on the paper, means if the story doesn't match with the numbers, then that's a huge problem. I think
this is something that we talked about in a previous video, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
Go watch that video.
Yeah, and valuation, I mean, simple as that. You need to always find companies that are trading below fair value, and that's why it's attractive to enter. So before you leave, there's this FIRL Pro, which is our
all the things that we talked about, we put it in practice for you to see for your benefit in the FIRL Pro program, where we write reports based on all these things that we mentioned about unit economics, valuation, catalyst, things like that. And so far, this is the performance, right?
Yes, so far it has been pretty well. I mean, if you look at January 2023, one of the stocks actually, if we're going to be posting out February 2023, hopefully the company is still maintained the same. But this company A right now, just hint is going up in 2x in value. So that's pretty good. But yeah, if you want more information on FIRL Pro and also maybe our SIB program, you can check out our free sample. We put the links in the description and comments down below for you to check it out. And yeah, that's it for today's video, MJ.
Yep. Guys, thanks for staying all the way until the end. Hope to see you in the FIRL Pro program. But if not, hey, thanks for the support anyways. And we'll see you in the next video.